Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the last 24 hours in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today is the 4th of December, 2020. So let's get into the news, everyone. So I had a little bit of feedback about the market updates at the start of these videos, saying they're a bit too long. And, I agree. I mean, the market's not doing very interesting things every day, so probably not worth recapping how it's going. So I guess from now on, I'm just going to give a brief overview of it and where we're at, unless it's been like a bloody day or a really good day in the markets or something like that. Yeah, so basically, as you can see here, we're just kind of still kind of range bound. We went up a little bit on ETH, up to like 625 and came back down sort of thing, over the last couple of days. Nothing too, interesting or wild happening. Same with Bitcoin, and the DeFi Pulse Index seems to be kind of following the same pattern there. So let's just jump into the news now. So Gitcoin Grants is in full swing. So the matching round 8 is begun. I spoke about it briefly yesterday, but I did say that I was going to update my Sassel's Cart of Love with a bunch of new grants, which I've done. So there's now 49 grants in there. So if you go to this collection, you can add the whole collection to the cart, and you can donate to all 49 grants at once. Now, you don't have to do this, of course. You can just go to each individual grant and kind of, like for me, it says remove from cart, but for you, it'll say add to cart. And you can just add in like whatever grants you want to donate to here. So you don't have to donate to all 49, for example. But like I've just gone ahead and curated the ones that I think are the ones that I would donate to and will be donating to. So yeah, it's just a little bit of help for you all there. Of course, I have the Daily Gwei as a grant on here. There's no ads or sponsored spots across any of the Daily Gwei's materials, and there probably won't be for a very long time, if ever. I don't really care to bring on sponsors and things like that. I want to keep the content clean and free. So really the only way, I mean, I've had a few people, message me about it, and really the only way to support me is through this Gitcoin grant. If you want to support me, there's no obligation to do so, but like if feel free to donate if you'd like. At the moment, you can donate one DAI, and it'll be matched by up to 44 DAI. So even every kind of small contribution counts, and I would really really appreciate it if you did make a donation. It helps me to keep the Daily Gwei going, of course, and to make, like, I guess, the content feel valuable to all of you. So I'll link that in the YouTube description. You can go check that one out. Yesterday, I was on a Meet the Nation with David Hoffman from Bankless. So the Meet the Nation series is where the Bankless guys interview a bunch of people from within the ecosystem to kind of like meet the Bankless nation. So there's a bunch of these episodes out there. I've been on one before where I discussed like set protocol and token sets and things like that. And on this one, I discussed the Daily Gwei. So if you want to know kind of like what my goals are for the Daily Gwei going forward, why I started it, how I see like the Ethereum community and ecosystem these days, I highly suggest going to watch this video. It was really fun, and I thank David for bringing me on to do this. So I'll link that in the description as well, and you can go check that one out. All right, so I think the biggest news over the last 24 hours was that the S&P Dow Jones indices are going to launch like cryptocurrency index products in 2021. This is huge. Like the S&P, as people will know, there's the S&P 500, which is the main index in the US to track the 500 largest companies. And they seem to want to get into crypto. So they said that they're going to basically give access or kind of like make products based on the top 550 traded coins. Now, this is a bit weird because, I mean, everyone knows that there's not really 550 kind of like worthwhile coins or tokens within crypto. I probably wouldn't even say there's 100 of them. Once you get past like the major coins, you go into like, I guess, DeFi tokens and other things like that. There really is nowhere near 550. Most of them are useless, most of them don't do anything. Most of them are old forks of Bitcoin and things like that. So definitely not sure what they're getting at here. That kind of shows me that they're probably going to be going with like these easy and simple indexes, like having, BTC, ETH, XRP, LTC, and whatever else is in the top 10, right? which is just such an uninteresting product. Like I as someone like involved with making index products as part of the index co-op, it's just it's just boring, right? The DeFi Pulse Index to me is exciting because it's got DeFi tokens in there that people actually want to own. You know, you can do things with them, right? You can do like governance, because there's a meta governance module in it. Eventually, you'll be able to kind of earn a yield on these tokens as well if that goes through. But with these other index products, I'm not sure how they're going to do it, right? If they do one that's BTC, ETH, XRP, LTC, and all that, like you can't do anything with your LTC or XRP, so it's just going to sit there. You know, same with Bitcoin, right? Like you can't do anything with your Bitcoin in a decentralized way, I guess. I guess you can put it on BlockFi and things like that, but it's a lot harder. Whereas with ETH, you can obviously do a bunch of different things, but are they going to do that? Or are they just going to have like an index product that has these tokens in them, these coins in them, that gives people exposure to cryptocurrency, quote unquote, and you know, none of the productivity that comes from these assets? I don't know, right? There wasn't that many, you know, there wasn't too many more details here. It's basically just an announcement saying that they're going to be pursuing this thing. You know, it's pretty big news. I mean, it's not unexpected considering how many traditional finance players we're seeing getting into this now. But at the same time, I don't expect it to be anything special, right? I expect it to be like just your run-of-the-mill kind of like index products that aren't really innovating, still stuck in the TradFi, traditional finance sense. Whereas I really do think the index products that are being built on Ethereum within DeFi are much more interesting. As I mentioned, DeFi Pulse Index, there's Power Pool, there's PiDAO, there's, you know, balancers doing index products too. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it, and you can do different things with the assets as well, as I mentioned, like meta governance and stuff like that. So gonna keep an eye on this, see what happens with it, see if they try to differentiate themselves, or is it just going to be like a stock standard index product that people are used to. I think from a regulatory perspective, that's probably going to be what it is, because obviously, you know, they need to make sure that they're not breaking any regulatory rules. I don't think they're going to have any problems with like things being securities, right? Because obviously they trade securities all the time. But in saying that, I don't think they're going to be doing some fancy stuff like in DeFi with these indexes, right? With the tokens or coins in these index products. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be early 2021, I think. So won't have to wait much longer, maybe 3 or so months, and we'll see what they've got planned here. So Loopring's ZK Rollup AMM is now live. This is really big news. I think this actually flew under the radar today for some reason. I mean, I only saw about it towards the end. I only kind of saw it towards the end of the day. But basically, it's a layer 2 AMM, so automated market maker on Loopring's ZK Rollup technology. So, I mean, for those of you who are in the weeds, you'll be familiar with AMMs, but for those of you who aren't, an AMM is something like Uniswap, where it basically, as the name suggests, it automates the market making. So you can provide liquidity as an individual, and then the Uniswap system, for example, will market make for you. So it will buy and sell assets depending on market conditions, depending on the liquidity that you're providing, and things like that. So it automates the whole process. So what Loopring's done is they've put this on their ZK Rollup technology, and you can go try it out right now with a very familiar interface. Obviously, as you can see here, if you're watching the video, it looks pretty much like Uniswap, right? Or like 1inch or one of those other interfaces. So this is really, really cool to see. They beat Uniswap to the punch, right? There's rumors that Uniswap is going to have V3 on a layer 2 solution, but Loopring's already done it. So I definitely recommend going to check this out. The link will be in the YouTube show notes, of course. But yeah, kudos to Loopring for beating Uniswap to the punch here. You know, where is Uniswap V3, right? People were expecting it to come out in November. That kind of didn't happen. You know, it's December now. We haven't really heard much about it. You know, SushiSwap's back in the news as well, so competition's heating up again. So I'm curious if Uniswap's just going to like drop V3 this month or wait till the new year. Are they even going to be on layer 2, right? Are they even going to have a layer 2 implementation, or are they just going to focus on layer 1? You know, maybe a layer 2 implementation was more urgent during DeFi summer when gas prices were so high, but gas prices these days are pretty cheap, right? They vary between 20 and 50 Gwei, which is nothing compared to what it was during DeFi summer. So maybe the urgency just isn't there. But yeah, I'm curious to see how Uniswap reacts to this, because this is definitely competition for them. And as I said, SushiSwap as well. It's not just like a Uniswap world anymore. They're gonna have to compete. So there's this, I guess you could call it tool called AnySender from AnyDot. It's a non-custodial relayer API that was acquired by Infura today. So this is a bit of infrastructure. You probably haven't used it before because, as I said, it's an infrastructure thing. It's just like how most people don't know what Infura is, for example, right? Like you use it every day if you're using MetaMask. If you're using the default settings on MetaMask, you use Infura every time you you do an Ethereum transaction or anything like that on MetaMask. So this is another one of those, and it's great that they got acquired by Consensus and joined Infura here. I think it's a match made in heaven. They brought on these really talented engineers. I know Patrick McCrory here. He's great. He's very talented. He's been doing a lot of stuff around Bitcoin and Ethereum over the years. So great win there. And they got Chris Buckland on board as well there as well. So yeah, really cool to see. Congrats to the team, I guess, and congrats to Infura for the acquisition. All right, so I mentioned yesterday, I think I mentioned it yesterday, that we were trying to get Coin Center on Gitcoin grants. If I didn't mention it yesterday, that's what I was trying to do. I kind of put a tweet out saying, hey, why isn't Coin Center on Gitcoin grants, right? It's a public good. They do a lot of things in the US to defend against bad regulations against crypto. They've primarily been focused on Bitcoin, but now they're branching out into Ethereum stablecoins and DeFi. So yeah, they set up a grant today, and honestly, within 24 hours, they got way more money than I was expecting. So you can see here that David Hoffman donated 500 DAI to them, which is a pretty big donation. But if it loads, I don't know if it's gonna load now. But the last time I saw, I think they had raised like something like $50,000. Yeah, okay, it's loading now. Maybe? No, okay. I think that's just his cart. Let me see if I can load it up here. No, that's just his cart. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so they got funded something like $50,000, and I think like 30,000 of that came from a Gitcoin kind of like patron called Eeks. So he's been doing a lot of donations on Gitcoin over the years. I think he's done over $100,000 at least, probably way more than that actually at this point, of donations on Gitcoin. And yeah, he did a large donation to Coin Center, where you can see here, as I said, yeah, over 50,000 DAI has been contributed so far, which is just insane, right? Maybe I can find Eeks's donation here because it was quite a large one. But very, very awesome to see this. This is bringing in typically they're not, like, Coin Center isn't involved in the Ethereum community, and what a welcome, right? We've welcomed them with all this love and saying, we value the work that you're doing. We want to, we want to donate to you. We want to make sure that you get money to keep going. So here it is. Yeah, Eeks donated 34.74 ETH, which at current prices, if I'm doing my math correctly, yes, I think it's about like 30,000. Maybe I'm doing my math wrong, but yeah, so there's that there. But yeah, if you want to support Coin Center and all the good work that they're doing, obviously you can go donate on Gitcoin. It's in my Sassel's card of love as well. If you just want to do a bulk donate, you can do it through that, or you can just go find it there, basically. So yeah, really cool to see, and kudos to David Hoffman for donating 500 DAI as well. That's a pretty big deal, and this kind of signals to people where they want their money to go. If people remember back to EIP 1559's grant, they had a grant. And it basically raised like a lot of money. I think it was like $100,000 or something crazy, right? And a lot of Ethereum community members actually donated to this and donated a large amount. I don't remember exactly how much everyone gave, but I personally gave $1,000. I know that other people gave more than that. And it was just to show that we want this so badly that we will give you whatever you need. Whatever funding you need, you will have, right? The community is there to help you get this. And that's the same with Coin Center, I think, and all these other projects on Gitcoin through the grants matching. I think that's what basically the whole point is, to kind of like get like a feel for what people actually value and what they care about and what they actually want to see continue on and get funded and things like that. So if you want to see Coin Center keep going, doing more work, definitely go donate on Gitcoin to them. Speaking of EIP 1559, there was the seventh 1559 implementers call that happened today. Tim Biko summarizes it in this thread. I won't go through the whole thing, but they actually had Tim Roughgarden, the person who did the report on EIP 1559, so the full economic analysis from outside of crypto that I went through the other day. So they had him on board to give his summary, his findings, and to talk that through with the team, which is really, really cool. They had a bunch of other things going on. I mean, most of it, I think, was centered around this report. If I'm scrolling through the thread here, that's basically what I'm seeing. And then there was also discussions around the community outreach report. For actually this report, for people who haven't seen it, this is great. This was published in October. But basically what this report did was survey all different types of the community to see, who wants 1559, why do they want it, who doesn't want it, why don't they want it, sort of thing. Now, as you can imagine, the group that was most against or is most against this are miners, right? And this is obviously because with EIP 1559, miner revenue technically goes down because they're earning less fees from transactions. And fees have actually been very lucrative for miners lately, as I'm sure you're all aware, right? Because of the high transaction costs. They were earning more fees than block rewards, the miners in DeFi Summer on some days. So, yeah, I mean, it's expected that they were against this. I don't think anyone else was against it. I think people brought up concerns around, the implementation. Do we do like a hybrid implementation where we have the classic transactions and the EIP 1559 transactions in place? If we do that, how long do we do it for? I think we are going to do that, and it's probably going to be like a 12-month thing, because you want to give people time, especially wallet providers, infrastructure providers, exchanges, all this sort of stuff. You want to give them time to get used to this and to build in the features and the technology that they need to in order to support this as well. So yeah, I'm all for that, but I'll link this report as well in the show notes, because I think it's a very good thing to read if you want to get more context around this EIP. No, I don't think any EIP has gone under as much scrutiny as this one has. There's no community outreach reports for most EIPs. There's no, economic analysis from, people like Tim Roughgarden and things like that. So it's, yeah, I mean, for better or worse, like I think maybe at this point we're getting to the point where we're just like, okay, we know it's good, it does what it needs to do. Like, let's just build this thing, right? Let's get it deployed. I think we're at that point, and Tim Biko is basically running the show there. He is what I like to call EIP 1559's Danny Ryan. For those who don't know, Danny Ryan is the coordinator of the ETH2 effort. He is a big reason why the ETH2 effort has worked so well, and we've had so many test nets, and we went to mainnet without a hitch, basically. So, yeah, that is high praise for Tim Biko for sure. So yeah, I'll link all this in the show notes, of course. So Aave went live with their V2 today. So the V2 comes with a ton of awesome features. One of the things that you'll probably feel the most and immediately is the lower gas costs. So I think across the board, it's average 50% cheaper to interact with Aave now due to this V2, which is huge, right? Aave is actually one of the more, V1 was one of the more expensive protocols to use, right? Because they had old code that was written a long time ago, and then their system blew up, and they had $1 billion in total value locked, and they're like, wow, okay, we need to build a V2, right? We need to make sure that it's built properly. We need to make sure that it's audited, which they did. They've had 4 audits done, with a 5th one on its way, all from very reputable auditors, right? Like Mixbyte, Certic, Consensus Diligence, Peck Shield, and Sigma Prime. For those who don't know, Sigma Prime actually built the Lighthouse client for ETH2, so they're stars. But so are the rest of these teams here. And that's not something you typically see. Those wouldn't be cheap audits as well. If you maybe take, I think the market rate for auditing a protocol like this, say it was $100,000 per audit, that's $500,000 that they used to do this, right? And Aave's obviously raised a lot of money lately. For those who have seen it, they raised money by selling Aave tokens, because the Aave token is worth a lot now. But that's what this money goes towards, right? These really expensive audits that are critical, because Aave is one of the most popular DeFi apps, right? You need it to be audited to this standard. So yeah, kudos to them to getting this out. There's as I said, there's a lot of new features here. They've got yield and collateral swap, which is I think their headline features. So the assets that were being used as collateral are now free to be traded. So basically trading debt positions, essentially. I think that's how it works. There's flash loans got upgraded, repayment with collateral, flash liquidations as well, batch flash loans. So flash loans are getting even more powerful. Debt tokenization in V2, debt positions tokenized, so borrowers will receive tokens that represent their debt. This is just crazy, right? There's so many really awesome features here, credit delegation, and as I said, gas optimizations and a bunch of other stuff there. I'll link the full kind of blog post in the show notes so you can go read it for yourself. But yeah, it's on mainnet now. You can go check it out here. If I open it up here, I think the market size is actually quite small still. Last time I checked, it was about $15 million, as opposed to Aave V1, which is how do I get back to it? I don't know how to get back to it. Oh well, I think Aave V1 was like $1 billion or something in the protocol. Actually, I can just do this and go back to it here once it loads. The classic V1 interface, right? You gotta get your wallet in. Sorry, I'm just trying to check here what the total value. Wow, it's way more than I thought it was. Okay, it's almost $2 billion. Glad I loaded it up. So yeah, V2 obviously is out there, but it's going to take a little bit of time before people migrate, because to migrate, obviously people have to close off their positions and things like that, right? And it's going to be a slow migration process in general, because you kind of want it to be slow, right? You don't want everyone just to flood into these new protocol. It's obviously like Aave V1's been battle tested, V2 hasn't, things like that. So yeah, but that's still part of Aave, right? Like the V1 collateral amounts, the total value locked of almost 2 billion, but 15 million within 24 hours is pretty good in V2 as well. So happy to see that happening. All right, I wanted to give a quick shout out here to Victor Bunin from Bison Trails for his ETH2 updates. So this latest one, ETH2 update 007, I didn't even mean to create that reference there, but there it is quite lengthy. It covers the launch of the Beacon chain, the first slashings that happened in the Beacon chain, some observations and insights, and kind of what's coming next. I really enjoy these updates. I mean, obviously, I'm someone that's already in the weeds of ETH2 and follow a lot of these different things. But Victor does a really great job of breaking this down for the layman, right? He doesn't use super technical kind of words or anything. He tries to make sure that even people that have a cursory knowledge of this stuff can understand what's going on. So yeah, I highly recommend going to check out this update, which I'll link in the show notes, but also keeping up to date with the further updates that come out. Obviously, this is number 7. There's going to be more in the future, and kudos to Victor for writing these. All right, another kind of project that got a lot of attention today was BadgerDAO. Now, the reason why this got a lot of attention was because they basically airdropped a bunch of Badger tokens to people who had interacted with DeFi in general. So, if you had done a bunch of different things in DeFi, things like participating in YAM governance, taking out loans, or kind of like borrowing assets against your collateral in, like, I think there was a bunch of different protocols supported, or like doing trades on Uniswap and things like that. You were given some Badger tokens, which actually ended up being worth like, $5 each or something at one point. More than that, but like around $5 for most of the day. And people were given up to, it depends on how many interactions you did, but people I spoke to, most of them got like 100 tokens. So, $500 for basically nothing, right? It's funny. I sometimes say to my friends, it's just like, if you stick around crypto long enough, money just casually happens, right? It just falls into your lap, and that's what happened here. And they also gave tokens to people who donated on Gitcoin as well. So if you had donated, you got tokens for that, which was really cool to see. But anyway, other than the token, the project is actually really interesting as well, because the project is catered towards Bitcoiners and Bitcoin within DeFi. So if we actually go to the website here, badger.finance, there's a lot of things here geared towards Bitcoiners. So if we go to the app, and then once it loads, you'll see that their pool 2, or their kind of like liquidity pool, where you kind of like stake into, is a WBTC pool. So there's no like ETH pool that they're that they're encouraging. There's no, there's no ETH pairs that they're encouraging. It's all BTC based. You can see on Curve here, they've got a REN BTC, LP, SBTC, right, TBTC, things like that. So they're really just trying to get Bitcoiners to use DeFi more, and I respect that, right? I'm happy if more Bitcoiners come in and use all the stuff that we have in DeFi. I mean, I showed the other day how BTC on Ethereum has just been exploding up, and the more the merrier there, right? But BTC is just another asset on Ethereum, but it has a diverse and different user and holder base than what kind of ETH has and what a bunch of other tokens have. So interested to see where Badger goes from here. It came out of kind of nowhere. People were like, BadgerDAO, what's that, right? I'm sure a lot of you didn't even hear about it today. But if you did want to claim your free tokens, all you have to do is go to this Hunt tab. So app.badger.finance/hunt. And then here it'll come up with, how much you can claim. You just claim it like you would, like you're used to, right? You press claim and then you get some money there. We'll get some tokens, and you can either choose to sell them or keep them. And if you keep them, you can stake them and earn more Badger tokens, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are used to this rodeo by now. But yeah, they've got $50 million locked in 24 hours, which is pretty impressive. And the Badger price is actually higher than $5 now. Apparently it's $7.30 at time of recording. Yeah, so definitely go check your wallets, right? Check your wallets for some free tokens and do with them what you will, basically. But do check out the project as well. I think it's an interesting project, especially if you're a Bitcoiner. Maybe not many Bitcoiners listen to my ramblings about Ethereum on the Daily Gwei Refuel, but if you are, something that should interest you for sure. All right, so the deposit contract has over 1 million ETH locked in it now. So that's over $600 million at time of recording, or if we assume a $600 ETH price. This is huge, right? I remember, and I wrote about this in the Daily Gwei newsletter, which you should go read. But basically, to summarize what I wrote, I said that people were like debating just a few weeks ago, are we going to reach the minimum ETH required, which was 524,288 ETH, and we did, right? We reached it and we went over, and now we've gone almost double what we needed. And I think that it's not even going to slow down, right? It's just going to keep going. We have exchanges spinning up. Infrastructure to support staking. We have all these other staking companies, these people, these other kind of projects trying to do this decentralized staking. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see this shoot up to 2 or 3 million within the next, maybe month, 2 months or so. Maybe even more than that, right? I think it's been significantly de-risked as well. The fact that it was such a smooth launch and the fact that the beacon chain is running as it should, has de-risked it for a lot of people. But at the same time, these people have now paid the price where they're going to have to wait almost 9 days, I think it is now, to become a validator because of that validator queue. Because as I've mentioned before, only 900 validators can be accepted into the beacon chain per day, which isn't very many. I think it's about 28,000 ETH worth. So, there's a bunch of ETH waiting to get in. I think there's maybe 300,000 ETH or 250,000 ETH waiting to get in, which brings it to that 9 days waiting period. And that's just going to keep getting longer the more ETH that gets deposited. So if you want to stake, do it now, right? Don't wait, because then you'll have a delay. And then what will end up happening is you'll send your ETH and then you'll have to wait like 10 days or something, or even more than that, where there's an opportunity cost where you're not earning rewards. Which can be obviously very annoying. So yeah, obviously the best time to do it was, yesterday. The next best time is today. So definitely go do that if you're interested in it. All right, so Rabbit Hole was announced today. I mean, this project has been around for a little while, but it was announced today that they've closed a funding round led by Collab Currency, Slow Ventures, and Castle Island Ventures. Now, and Freeco, sorry. Castle Island Ventures is a funny one because that's actually Nick Carter's fund, and he is a Bitcoiner, right? And Rabbit Hole is built on Ethereum, so it's really great to see them branching out and funding more Ethereum projects and things like that. Kudos to them for that. There's a bunch of angels here, I guess there's like your typical names like Kane from Synthetic, Stane from Aave. You have Leighton from Pull Together here, and a bunch of other kind of investors as well. It's curious that Ethereum Joseph Lubin invested too, which is really cool to see. But yeah, so anyway, I've been rambling on about this project. What is it? So basically, they describe themselves as Rabbit Hole aims to be the best way to launch a new crypto network and find the right contributors, one where users are empowered to participate rather than just speculate. So I've played around with this before. I think Rabbit Hole's kind of changed over time in what it wanted to do, and it was trying to like find its place in, I guess, like the Ethereum ecosystem. But basically, what it's trying to do is it's trying to increase participation across various economies or on-chain economies and protocols, right? And instead of speculation. So what they want to do is they want to encourage people to do things like staking in synthetics, minting synthetics in UMA, voting on proposals in Aragon, things like that, right? Things that aren't inherently speculative, but help the networks and help them grow and things like that. So the way that they, I guess, want to do this is, in the first versions that I saw, they want to kind of gamify this behavior. So they want to make it like fun to do these things, and you earn points and you earn rewards for doing them. Maybe not crypto token rewards, but like NFTs and badges and things like that. So yeah, this is very different to what I think we've typically seen within, I guess, like Ethereum in general, and it plays into what is called the ownership economy, which is this kind of concept around crypto networks are inherently community owned, right? You have a bunch of token holders that are community people, and they want to be involved. They want to do governance. They want to, create content, all this sort of stuff. So how do we supercharge this? How do we, make it so that more people can get involved with this? And there's a blog post here from Variant Fund, which is linked in the Rabbit Hole Manifesto, which I was just showing on the screen. That goes through this. Obviously, it's a long blog post, so I won't read through it now, but it goes through how the ownership economy is just getting started and how this is going to be like the next wave and the next big thing, especially for crypto, outside of like DeFi, right? It plays into DeFi, but it's not, strictly DeFi, for example. So definitely go check that out. Go follow Rabbit Hole on Twitter. I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot of exciting stuff going forward, and I look forward to what they do. So yeah, congrats on the raise to the Rabbit Hole team, and we will be keeping an eye on that. All right, the last thing to talk about was a bit of news that came out just about maybe 2 hours ago now. I thought it was a bit weird, but basically OMG Network, the Ethereum Layer 2 solution, has been acquired by a venture firm called Genesis Block Ventures. So this isn't to say like the OMG network, the decentralized network, is acquired. It's the company building the network, right? The core team have been acquired by this Genesis Block Ventures. They're based out of Hong Kong. The OMG network team is based out of Asia anyway, so it seems like a good fit there. And yeah, this ventures firm has acquired the OMG parent company from another company called Synca, which was its former parent company. And yeah, I guess this is just like a proper acquisition, right? It's funny because I was debating on the refuel the other day about how these Y-earn mergers and acquisitions that we're seeing aren't really mergers and acquisitions, right? They're more like partnerships. Whereas this is a proper acquisition where the team gets acquired. Obviously the token's still there and everything. But it's they paid money for it. Obviously, it's not disclosed here how much they paid. Basically, they paid money to acquire this company. So not many details here, actually. Curious to see where this goes. OMG Network, it's been around for a long time, right? Like for those who don't know, OMG Network is basically a Mise Go. For those who remember, they just rebranded to OMG Network, which I think was actually a pretty cool rebranding because everyone used to just call them OMG anyway, because that was their token name as well. But they've had like a colored history, right? They went live this year with their Tether implementation, where they had Tether on the OMG network on layer 2. But I think it's kind of failed to see kind of adoption because for that to work, there needs to be other exchanges kind of on board with the layer 2 solution for people to be able to send Tether to each other. You need it integrated natively in tools like MetaMask and other wallets and things like that before it can actually be adopted. So that's been slow. It's no surprise. All the layer 2 solutions are kind of having slow adoption because they're just not as widely distributed from a network effect perspective. But Yeah, I'll keep an eye on this. We'll see if there's any more details about this in the next couple of days. But just seems random, I guess, that this happened. But at the same time, if it helps OMG Network be a better team and a better company and making better products, then kudos to them. And I guess congrats on the acquisition to Genesis Block Ventures as well. All right, that's it for this one, everyone. Thank you for watching, listening, however you're consuming the Daily Gwei Refuel. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to the Daily Gwei newsletter and everything like that, and join the Discord channel. And that's it for today. Thank you, and I'll see you everyone next week.